back to the Game Smash Podcast, and as always, I'm your host, William Liberty, and with me is...
Boaz Muhammad Yusuf.
And today we got some stuff. We got Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite DLC characters revealed. We got new Dragon Ball Z Fighters, new characters revealed as well. We got Raiden Black Lightning added to Injustice 2. We got Monster Hunter World release... we got Monster Hunter World release date and trailer. I'm just stuttering because I'm so excited. Okami HD coming to PS4 and Xbox One and PC. And Wolfenstein 2 and Doom 2016 coming to the Switch. But before we get into that, let's talk about what we played this week. So I really didn't play a whole lot different. I just kept playing XCOM 2. So remember that mission that I talked about last week, which was basically...
Yeah, the one that you got bodied in? Yeah, that one?
No, not that one. I was talking about how I saved before I was supposed to go on a mission with only rookies and sergeants.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, well, they've clearly probably scaled down the enemies so that it's not as difficult with the... Because you're limited to only sergeants and rookies. Like, it's like... That's your roster. Like, they can't throw anything ridiculous at you. And I do the mission, and they throw a sectopod at me. So I basically went back in time before I went to the mission select, and I said, fuck you. I was like, because there's no way. How am I supposed to fight a fucking sectopod with rookies?
I don't know, Thanos. Sounds like you need to get good.
Fucking garbage. So I just said, you know what, no. So and I just reloaded my save and just went, okay, I'm gonna pick the harder option, with my actual good team, or my good team missing a couple of key players, because that is more viable than fuck this fucking train wreck. So that was fun.
Did you have to send rookies on that mission?
Yes. Yeah, that's literally it's the sitrap. The sitrap is you had to send rookies, it had to be, I think it was sergeants or lower on the mission. And they threw a sectopod at me. And I was like, what the hell is this? So I just, I reloaded and I did the mission, did a different mission that was normal. So that was something. Anyway, played that was fun. I actually played something new. I downloaded... because during the Nintendo Direct, which we might talk a little bit about, I downloaded the new game by Square Enix, the people who made Bravely Default, called Octopath Traveler. And this was the game that they showed off at... I think they showed off at one of the Nintendo E3 things. It's basically it's a pixel art game with a mix of pixel art and 3D graphics, and it looks really, really, really cool. Very, very beautiful game. The name's a little, but it is a working title, so I hope that they kind of come up with a new name. I understand why now they've given it that name, is because they're setting up this game is like you put the game in, and then it's like start a new game, and then you pick a protagonist to start with. You have 8 different protagonists that you start with, and then you slowly collect the rest of your party. So it looks interesting. Like, from a story perspective, I find that interesting because it's essentially, it's like you can choose who your main character is. So if you want to go with the classic, disgruntled soldier, who used to be part of the guard, but now he's left to go guard some town, and he's changed his name, you can go with that as your main character. Or if you want to go with the dancer who's got like a fucking shitty ass boss and just hates her life and just wants to find the people who killed her parents, you can go with that main character. And it's like it's an interesting idea, which I found a lot very interesting to kind of experiment with. It's got a pretty good turn-based combat. One of the things that they've done that I like is that, so when you're playing Persona and things have weaknesses, right? So like fire or ice or whatever, right? So in this game, they'll have their weaknesses, whether it be the fire damage, dark damage, or spear/sword. But there'll be a number with a shield. And basically, every time you hit them with their weakness, that number goes down. So some bosses will have 6, and you have to hit that guy 6 times with his weakness to break his guard. And when you break his guard, you can then your next attack deals a bunch of damage. Now, what they made with this system, which I think is cool, is the boost system, which is basically whenever you have during every turn, your character gains a pip of boost. So, a turn passes, you gain 1, and you can hold on to this meter essentially. It's almost like a fighting game to a certain extent. And what you do is that every time you boost, you add a second attack to your attack. So, for example, if you do a regular swing that's not boosted, it's just 1 swing. But if you boosted once, it's 2 swings. If you boosted twice, it's 3 swings, and so on and so forth. So what this interesting mechanic in which you essentially want to guard break your opponent and then save your boost so that you can essentially boost level 4 and attack when their guard is down for massive amounts of damage. So, yeah, massive damage. So it's a really interesting system, and it's fast-paced, which is I'm glad, because one of the things I heard about Bravely Default is that the combat in that game was very slow, which is one of the biggest criticisms of the game. So I was enjoying the fact that this was a much more faster-paced kind of JRPG. One of the weirder things about the game is that the game has voice acting in it, which I didn't expect it to, because this looks like Final Fantasy VI, where you've got the sprites, those very particular detailed sprites, but they don't really have a whole lot of animation to a certain extent. Yeah. So it's bizarre when you have fully dubbed voice actors reading out these lines when the characters are just kind of doing the little puppet emotes. You know what I mean by that? So it's a little bit bizarre. But other than that, I really enjoyed the demo. I only played through the guard. You only get to play through 2 characters essentially. So I played the disgruntled knight who left the Royal Guard, and he was a lot of fun to play. But that's pretty much it. The only other thing I will say that I like is that when you finish it, they send you... Well, I got an email essentially from Square Enix saying, hey, thank you for playing our demo. You can take this survey, and we want your feedback. We want to know what you liked, what you didn't like about this game. And I like the fact that they're going out of their way to try and get feedback from the community, as they develop it. This is something that I was really happy with that Neo did, right? Neo got a lot of community feedback, and I feel like that really, really improved the game over time. So I would love to see something similar with this game, because there's definitely potential. But that's basically what I played this week. What about you, Fawaz?
Okay, so I'm going to start with what I didn't play this week. Mm-hmm. So the Dragon Ball beta was last weekend, and I didn't get into it. So that was kind of, that made me a little, honestly, it didn't make me as sad as it should have, because I spent the entire weekend working, so...
Yeah.
It's probably for the best I didn't get in, because it would have sucked if I got in and I didn't have the time to play. But yeah, there's a bunch of new footage coming out from that I still need to sieve through. But what I actually did play was Overwatch, because that's pretty much all I play now. And what's interesting was that today, at the time of this recording, a new patch just came out. So we got Junkertown, the new map. I played one map. I played one match on it, and we full held them, so we couldn't really see much of the map. Plus, I was playing Zarya, one of the least mobile characters in the game, so I really couldn't see much of the map. But it seems cool. We'll see. I can't really give an opinion on it. But the big thing in this patch are the changes to 2 heroes. The third hero got to change, but So we'll start the third hero. So Reinhardt got to change. You can now, when you hold down his shield, you can rotate the camera around. I haven't tested to see if they kept the 180 Earth Shatter in, but we'll see. Odds are they probably took it out. But no, the 2 big changes are D.Va and Mercy, probably the 2 most popular heroes across most levels in the game. So D.Va, they went through the change. I still can't believe they did it, but I'm not complaining. So Defense Matrix is not as it depletes twice as quickly now, so it has half the uptime. They increased the energy regeneration, from 10% to 12.5%. I'm not about to sit here and try to do the math to calculate how much the uptime has changed. Just know if you hold down the defense matrix, you can only hold it down half as much. However, when it's down, it regenerates 2.5% faster than it used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you use it faster, but it comes back, like the meter
it comes back a little faster.
Okay.
Her booster, she can now fire her fusion cannons while flying. This is a solid change. And then finally, micro missiles, the brand new ability. This ability is not as good as I thought it was going to be. Keep in mind, this is coming from someone who doesn't actually play D.Va. So take that as that. But and then also I was playing Zarya, who's like D.Va's natural.
Yeah. Whenever I see an enemy Zarya when I'm playing D.Va, I'm just like, oh fuck my life.
See, it's even worse now. Okay, so D.Va has this voice line. She says "bang" every time she shoots the micro missiles. You're gonna get sick of this voice line very quickly. I can guarantee you that. But
hey, listen, I'm still in love with GG, just for complete. I love that voice line, so I'm never gonna get tired of that because I know it pisses you off so much.
So yeah, D.Va got micro missiles, and the thing with the ability that makes me kind of iffy about it is that it's made the Zarya matchup even easier for Zarya, because the second you hear the voice line, you just pop a barrier, and she can't, because so you pop a barrier, you won't be running with the Reaper, you pop a barrier, he starts reloading, right? The same thing you do with like a Genji when he pops his deflect, you just stop shooting immediately, right? I mean, every now and then, more often than not, most people that you play with are idiots and they don't do that, but the option is there, right? With D.Va, the second you hear that voice line, that's it. That's 40 energy every time. I haven't done the math, but let's say 30 just to even out. I'm gonna try her out just to see what she feels like. Obviously I can't compare it because I didn't play her before, but I'll try her out just to see what she feels like. I do think she is objectively worse now. I wasn't sure because the micro missiles sounded good on paper, but actually seeing them in practice, because here's the other thing, right, with the micro missiles, is that the spread on them is ridiculous. So if you want to get the full value from the missiles, you have to be right next to the target. However, because defense matrix is like worse now, and D.Va doesn't have as much health as she used to, you need to play a lot more carefully now with her. The irony of the situation is that for some reason, all the D.Vas I played with today, they're like, oh, my defense matrix isn't as good as it used to be, so I'm going to be even more aggressive and count the enemy spawn this time. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand where you guys are coming from, but all y'all are idiots. Okay.
I can understand where that idea is. It's wrong. It's a bad idea, but I understand where it's coming from in the sense where it's like a lot of the updates, they feel like they're pushing D.Va to become more of a bully tank.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can understand that, but at the same time, it's like I think this is one of those like weird big changes to the character that it's slowly we're gonna kind of figure out what D.Va is now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is gonna be, like I said, this is gonna be very interesting to me because I'm not gonna stop playing these characters. I'm just gonna stick with it until I understand how to play her. Right? Like I continued with Symmetra because I just liked playing Symmetra. And when the big change came around, I just got used to how Symmetra played, with her new kit. So this is basically what I'm looking at it. So that will be interesting. Did you try out Mercy?
No. I only played Zarya. Besides, like everybody was insta locking Mercy, so there was no, like, even if I wanted to, the opportunity wasn't there.
Yeah,
but yeah, the big one's Mercy. So Mercy. They gave her a new ability. They gave her her old ultimate as her ability. They reduced. First of all, you can only target one person.
Yeah.
They reduced the radius significantly. It's only 5 meters now. I think it used to be 30 meters before. I can't remember. The cooldown is 30 seconds, and she's no longer invulnerable while she is resurrecting. All in all, I haven't done the math. It's not Okay, one second. We'll get to the impressions first. Then her ultimate. Her new ultimate pisses me off so much. I'll get to why. And it's not for the because everybody's complaining about the ultimate now. You know me. I like to play it a little more patient. She's practically a brand new character now. We're still trying to figure stuff out. So
Mhm.
I'm not gonna complain about the ultimate. What pisses me off, I'll get to it in a second. So a new ultimate, Valkyrie. Her staff, the ability, her healing and her damage boost affect all nearby enemies. Her blaster has infinite ammo, and the projectile speed has been increased. They increased the range and the movement speed of her guardian angel. Her resurrect is instantly reset when she casts Valkyrie. So similar to how Genji's ultimate resets his dash, and the cooldown is reduced to 10 seconds. She gains the ability to fly freely and increase movement speed, and her regeneration is no longer interrupted when she takes damage. This ultimate seems really good. The reason why I absolutely hate it right now is because every single Mercy I played with today, literally every single Mercy I played with, they pop Valkyrie and then they forget that they're a healer.
Yeah, that's essentially what I was looking at. Like, oh my god, this ultimate is gonna make so many Mercy players think I am a god. I am now Genji. And then it's like,
It pisses me off
no.
so much. The one that actually I quit. I just left in the middle of the game. Like so, I can't remember. Somebody was attacking the Mercy. So I bubble the Mercy, I peel for the Mercy, I go in front of her, I pop my barrier to protect her. Then this fool pops Guardian Angel, flies off to go shoot somebody, and then I die because I didn't have any healing. I just left. I was like, man, fuck all y'all. So yeah, the ultimate itself seems really strong right now on paper. Like I said, though, she's a completely different character now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's people are still playing against her. Like I still did the old habits that I had. Whenever back in the day, whenever there's a mercy on the other team, I just wait. She flies in, pops res, bam, graviton surge, catches everybody. That doesn't work anymore because she only
Yeah.
reses one person. I mean, to be fair, it's not bad because I would like a two-person grab where one of the two
Mm-hmm.
is their primary healer. Isn't bad, but I'm just saying, the old strategies don't work the same anymore. So people are still getting used to the new mercy.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. One dude was complaining. He was like, "Oh, I have to use attack visor to kill Mercy when she pops her ult." I'm like, "Okay, so you have to use an ultimate to kill Mercy when she's ulting."
Okay.
Okay.
That there are so many other ultimate, like, that's usually the name of the game, isn't it? Like, like
Yeah.
usually when you're popping visor, you're doing it because you're trying to stop an ult or you're trying to win a team fight. It's not a.
Yeah, like for me, I'm like, I don't see the problem here. So here's the thing. I like the changes. They might need to change some of the numbers, but I like
Mhm.
the changes because like a long time ago, holy shit, we've been doing this podcast for a while. A long time ago, I mentioned that one of the biggest issues I felt like with Mercy was that when you picked Mercy for your healer, you were effectively fighting 5v6.
Mhm.
Because you look at Zen, you look at Lucy, and look at Anna, and they didn't have to choose. Even Anna, who sure she technically had to pick between healing and damage, it was like a split second. I turn to the left, I shoot my diva to heal. I turn to the right, I shoot the tracer. Oh, I do
Mhm.
a 180, alt, sleep dart the alting Genji, and I look down and I drop a Bion Nate. She didn't have to
Ah,
heal.
yes. I
Mercy,
love your description of that. And then it's like when I pick Anna. Wait, can you stand still? I need to heal you. Wait, no, stop. No, Tracer, fucking stand still. Oh, god damn it. Okay, I'm gonna sleep. I'll sleep dart the enemy. I'll say, oh fuck, I just missed. Okay. Now I'm just gonna ult Reinhardt and go, oh fucking Lucio, why?
it's actually always Lucio. Pisses me off when I'm trying to bubble someone with Zarya, and then Lucio just jumps in front of me and takes the bubble, and I'm like, Lucio, you
that
fucking
that
asshole.
that my little play by play. That is how almost every single fucking game has gone.
Yeah, but like okay, so like Anna didn't have to pick. Zen literally didn't have to pick because Zen could shoot, heal, and debuff at the same time,
Mhm.
simultaneously. Same thing with Lucio. Okay, Lucio had to pick between healing and speed boost, but that was the only choice he had to make.
Mhm.
Mercy had to pick between everything. So you were
Mhm.
effectively playing 5v6 when you had a Mercy on your team. Now that's not the case because now she can just. I mean, sure, when she had res, then that evened it out. But then that was the
Mhm.
issue was that people were picking Mercy not for Mercy
They're
but for
picking her
res.
for res,
And
yeah.
so now res is an ability, and sure, okay, sure, you're gonna pick Mercy for her ability. That's fine because it's an ability on a 30-second cooldown. So I
Mhm.
do like this idea. Maybe the cooldown is too short. We'll see. But I do like this idea a lot because it counteracts the fact that you were playing a man down when you had Mercy on your team. A new
Mhm.
ultimate. I don't know enough about it yet. I don't know like the numbers. All I know is that if you are a Mercy, you activate Valkyrie and you start healing your team. I hope you die. Not you, the person. You, the play. You, the Mercy character.
That's flying around like a maniac. I do have to admit that. The ultimate itself creates that situation where it's like, oh, it's my time to shine. But if you're not going to, if you're gonna do that, like,
pick Zenyatta.
Well, no. I'm just saying, like, you can still pop Valkyrie, but still do a bunch of beneficial things. Like, her healing gets, like, an insane boost, and her power thing spreads to, like, 3 people at once.
Yeah.
So it's way more... It's literally... It's hilarious, because somebody pointed out this is literally, like... oh, my God. It's like Orissa's ultimate, except you can move.
It's a better version of Orissa's. Well, one person actually made a post because people have been complaining about Orissa's ultimate for a while, and I actually agree with them. Orissa's ultimate feels very phoned in, and when I saw it, that was the part of her kit I was the most disappointed about. Mm-hmm. Now that Mercy pretty much has her ultimate, except better, I don't think she needs a redesign as a character, but I hope they redesign her ultimate because
I feel like her ultimate needs a redo, like or like. You know what would be interesting if, I was talking about the movement thing. Yeah. I think it would be cool if she could move and have that. Like, I don't know if that would be overpowered or not, but if she could move and have the boost instead of it being something that could be easily destroyed, then maybe that would make her more viable.
Yeah.
Like, because that way she could maneuver and position. Because the problem with her ultimate is that it's just like a fucking... It's a teleporter that is... The thing about teleporter and shield generators is that you purposely hide them. Her ultimate, you have to put in the front lines because it's useless otherwise.
Yeah, no, her ultimate is just... No. But yeah, Mercy, she looks cool. She becomes very hard to kill when she activates Valkyrie. I was with the Genji who was just whining the whole time. No, to be fair, this Genji was just a whiner. Yeah. Everybody's just complaining. It's funny, one dude actually made a post. He was like, I think you guys just like complaining about Mercy. And I agree with him. Because he was like that, okay, literally a week ago, for like the past couple of months, people have been complaining, oh my god, I hate Mercy's Resurrect. I hate the fact that, she hides, and then, we get a team kill using 4 of our ultimates, like a bunch of idiots. And then she flies in, and she undoes all that work, and blah, 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 no skill, blah, blah, blah. So then they're like, okay, cool. They completely redesign the ultimate. They make that playstyle... Here's the thing that everybody is forgetting. Team wipes are permanent now.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, if 4 of your teammates get caught in a Graviton Surge now, that's it. You've lost that team fight. No backup plan anymore. Mm-hmm. Like... People are focusing on one element. And like I said, she might actually be overpowered. We'll see. The patch has been out for like a couple of hours, We'll see. But I'm just saying that we're looking... This is a huge change. We're still getting used to it.
Yeah, this is definitely a huge change for sure.
All you people
I find it... Yeah, you're right. You're completely right. People who are complaining about Resurrect, and then it's like, all right, we changed it. No more Resurrect. Now you get this. And it's like, oh, this is bullshit. This is friggin' nonsense. Why did you change it? And I know we're not going to talk about it, but that fucking post that Jeff Kaplan made is the funniest shit in the world to me.
Wait, what did he say?
He made a post. He made a quote. And his quote is not exact, but I'm going to basically paraphrase it. He essentially pointed out that the reason why the development cycle for Overwatch for new maps, new content is so slow is because we're spending most of our resources trying to clean up the community. And he essentially asks players in this post, please play fair, play nice, and we'll be able to get more content for you. And I'm just looking at him like, I love you, Jeff, but you're asking the impossible. Like, this is a MOBA community. Like, you can't ask them to do that.
Like when a game is as popular as this game is, there's just going to be shit in the community. That's just like, people are like, oh, it's MOBAs, oh, it's shooters, oh, it's console, oh, it's PC. No, it's people. Okay, if you have too many people in a room, it's just going to go bad.
Well, it's honestly, for whatever reason, I find MOBA communities to be worse for some reason. Well, but this is something that's established. We won't go into it, but because we've got enough to talk about. But it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, because it's a team-based game, when you're playing a single-player game and you suck and you lose, you really can only blame yourself. If you're playing against if you're doing a 1v1, you know, it's a different mentality. Like we talked about this last week about the 1v1 fighters and team games, because I can understand there is nothing more infuriating, and you quitting that game is a perfect example of it, is that when you are losing because of your team. You are doing your best, but you have that one teammate that is bringing everyone else down. And that's the stem of the problem, but you can't get rid of that because that's the game. Anyway, but I'm very curious to see how these Overwatch patches affect the meta. So that will be fun. That will be fun.
A little bit of foreshadowing.
A little bit of foreshadowing. Speaking of things that I'm not excited to see any more of, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite DLC characters revealed. Hey, do you want to hit us with the sweet, sweet list of DLC characters?
This is pretty much the league list, and it's as disappointing as it was when we first saw it. So the six DLC characters are going to be Sigma, Black Panther, Monster Hunter, Female Monster Hunter, Venom, Winter Soldier, and Black Widow. That's going to be the 6 DLC characters. Here's what's weird about the 6 DLC characters. 4 of them are Marvel, only 2 are Capcom.
Yep.
That actually threw me off. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Maybe some of these characters actually end up being interesting, but all things considered, I'm not in the mood to give Capcom the benefit of the doubt. This is disappointing. You know what's really funny is that these idiots had the nerve when they announced the season pass to talk about how all 6 characters are going to be brand new characters. Venom is not a brand new character. He was in Marvel 2 and he was in MVC and MVC 2, and I'm pretty sure he was in some other ones. It was the kind of thing that I had to double check, because I was like, how are these guys blatantly lying like this?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure I've seen Venom in a Marvel vs. Capcom game. Maybe they're gonna do the stupid Flash Gordon Venom, who's like a secret agent. God, that would actually make perfect sense, because they've done absolutely everything else wrong. So
well, it's funny. I laughed when somebody pointed, like, it's like character with guns and fists. Man, Black Widow. I wonder what kind of character she's gonna be. We've already got like 3. And the thing that sucks the most to me is that the one thing that I was excited to see, because of how stupid... I was so excited to see Monster Hunter, and the fact that Monster Hunter is actually not part of the main roster is silly to me. Because literally, if you put Monster Hunter on the main roster, that would at least give you 1 point in, like, off the beaten path. Like, you get...
I mean, they do have Jeddah, so they do have...
Yeah, but that, like, I get it. Like, yeah, they have Jeddah, which is fine, but that's 1 point. You know, if they had Monster Hunter on the main cast, at least that would be 2 points. You know, 2 is better than 1 the last time I checked.
Wow, look who paid attention in math class. But no, I completely agree with you. Monster Hunter, when I saw the league list, was one of the few characters that I was like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. But so naturally she's going to be DLC. It's funny, I think they've made practically every wrong decision with this game. Even the things that they did right, like the combat system, they revealed they did it wrong, because first of all, they announced that there were not going to be any assists like 3 months before they showed off the new combat system, and it's like, because you tell people what they're losing before you tell them what they're getting in return. That's not a good look at all. But whatever. There's nothing. I mean, I was watching some of it, and it looks fun. I can't lie. I'm not going to be buying it, but I was watching.
Like, the thing, you know what the thing that is disappointing is that, like, I know that the core gameplay is actually not that bad, right?
Yeah.
It's just the game.
Everything else.
It's like, I think this is something that they don't understand, in the sense. This is something where it's like, there are a huge amount of audience for this game that are more interested in the roster than the actual core game mechanics. Which is sad to say, but it's true. It's true. Like, I am more invested in seeing, I want a cool game in which Monster Hunter gets to fight Mega Man, right? I want a cool game where, like, fucking Capcom character that I haven't seen before gets to fight unknown Marvel character, right? Like, that's the game to me. That's the appeal. Now, all the other stuff is awesome and it's cool, but to a general, like, viewer of this game, that's the appeal of a versus game. And the fact that we are like, it was just it's the roster is like it dealt so much damage to this game.
Yeah.
Along with everything else, and obviously function versus function never didn't help, and we talked about
funny
that.
story. So I don't know if I told you that a little while back, my little sister came over and I was watching some Infinite, and she was just like, "Yo, Forrest, what game is this?" I'm like, "Oh, it's Marvel Scum." She's like, "The game just looks weird." That's not the best part. Like a couple of weeks later, she's at my place, and I boot the game up again, and she's like, "You know what, Forrest? This is an ugly video game."
Oh, fucking savage.
Like, this is my 18-year-old sister. She doesn't follow video games. The only video game she plays is Skyrim.
And she's like, man, that looks like shit. Not like this
like,
broken Bethesda game.
That is an ugly-ass game. So, yeah, shout-outs to Capcom. Shout-outs to the designing team. You know, shout-outs. Shout-outs to all of you.
That's a great story. That really sums it up more than words can describe.
Yeah, but to do a full 180 to go from awful to awesome. So with a bunch of new characters were revealed for Dragon Ball Fighters. Tien and Yamcha.
Yeah, Yamcha.
Much to Tanner's excitement, Yamcha is finally playable. So I think that's all the Z fighters now that are in the game.
I think so.
I might be forgetting one.
But we will be talking about that new character who may or may not be part of the roster. I hope she is.
So they revealed 3 characters: Tien, Yamcha, and Android 21. Android 21 is a completely brand new character designed by Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
And she's the central figure in the story mode. However, the press release mentions absolutely nothing of her being playable, and all the screenshots, because like with Tien and Yamcha, they talk about their play styles. There's no mention of her play style. Every screenshot that features her is in the story. They recently released a story trailer, and she's in it, but there's literally no gameplay of her, which worries me because she looks pretty cool. And this game is severely lacking in female characters. But
there is one thing that gives me hope that she is that usually Arc System, when they make these kind of games, they usually have at least one original character to the roster.
Yeah.
Because like in Persona 4 Arena, there was Labris, and in Persona Arena Ultimax, there was Sho. And they've had, I think for most of their like property games, they've had at least one original character,
Yeah.
So that's why I'm hoping that it's like, okay, she would be a good pick as their original roster character.
Yeah, and it would be a perfect pick. And so yeah, hopefully, we'll maybe get some confirmation at TGS one way or another. Either they confirm that she's playable or they say she's not. It would be a real shame, but I'd just rather know up front. But other than that, let's focus on Tien and Yamcha. There's no we haven't seen any gameplay of them, as is often the case now. However, Yamcha is described as a rushdown character who specializes in grounded combat. So I'm guessing still going to have as many air options as the other characters. His signature, Ruga Fufu Ken.
Yep.
Wolfgang Fix. He has mix-ups and follow-ups which make him a real threat on the ground. This sounds like a Rekka. So for those of you that don't know, Rekkas are any special move that so it's named after Fei Long. In the original Street Fighter 2, he had a special move where he does quarter circle punch and he does the first hit. Then the next 2 are only available if he does the first hit. If that makes, if he does the first part of the special move, that is referred to as a Rekka. Any special move where it has follow-ups, but the follow-ups are only available if you've done the opening. This sounds like a Rekka. This Roga Fufu Ken Wolfgang Fist. Okay, I should just call it Wolfgang Fist.
Wolfgang Fist. Come on, man. Like, dude, you don't know about that Yamcha lore? Jesus.
No one gives a damn about Yamcha.
No, Yamcha's the best. Yamcha's the best. Shut up. Yamcha's the best character. He's better than Goku. He's better than Vegeta.
Give me the character in Dragon Ball Z to give it. Wasn't he dating Bulma, and then Vegeta came out and took his girl?
Literally, that's the best part of the entire show. He dies, and then Vegeta just rolls up and is like, "Yo, Bulma, you wanna go?" And Bulma's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And Yamcha's like, "What the fuck?"
Oh my god. So yeah, so Vegeta's gonna be a bad matchup for Yamcha in Dragon Ball Fighters.
The
What's
fucking
your-
abridged is so good. Like they changed the lore in which Bulma's reasoning for leaving Yamcha is like, "You never called," and then Yamcha's like, "I was dead," and Bulma's like, "That's no excuse."
That's so his super, the Spirit Ball, can be controlled via additional inputs. This sounds interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing how this works. I'm thinking it's probably maybe going to be like an orb that he releases and then he can control it or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah.
And then his meteor gun is his meteor super is the Shin Roga Fufu Ken True Wolfang Fist.
Mm-hmm.
No description of that, just the name. Then we've got Whoa, what's this? Ten Shinhan? What's his?
What?
Tien?
Yeah,
That's his
Tien.
full name?
Yeah, Ten Shinhan. That's his name.
Wow, well, you learn something new every day. Okay, so the description goes he overwhelms his opponents with high power and high move variety. Using his Kikohu,
Yeah.
Yodumpa, Haikyuken, Volleyball Fist, and even being supported by Chazu's psychic powers as an assist, his move variety is fascinating. So that's one thing to take note of. It sounds like he's going to be similar to 18 in the sense that he has his own personal assist.
Well, yeah, because like in the show, it's always Tien and Chatsu. Like they literally spend almost every scene together. So
okay, I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, like Chatsu is the little weird mime thing that hangs around with Tien for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
His nostalgic volleyball fist makes an appearance, and with Chatsu's psychic abilities, he can steal his opponent's movements. This also sounds really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. His Meteor Super is the Shin Kikohu. I think what they mean by Meteor is like level 3.
Yeah.
But he flies up high and releases an incredibly powerful Kikohu. Isn't that the one where he like puts his palm?
Yeah,
together?
he does his palm thing, and it's his signature move, and it's the fucking coolest.
Yeah, I mean, even I know it. That should show you how popular it is. With additional inputs, you can keep firing several blasts of it. So it seems like it's going to be similar to Destructo Disc that you can mash and then release more. They used his super outfit instead of his original one. So he's like wearing a full outfit as opposed to being topless. So, and, millions of fangirls just cried out.
God damn it. I want my Tien shirtless. Give me my shirtless Tien, god damn it.
Anyway, so,
wow, just gonna completely sandbag me. Alright.
So yeah, these characters, unfortunately, as is pretty much the case, they released them with scans instead of trailers, which, busts my balls, but
yeah.
It is what it is. At least they're consistent. This is how they've done it with every character. TGS is in a couple of days, so we'll probably be getting a trailer for Tien and Yamcha there. Hopefully a gameplay trailer for Android 21 as well. But with these characters, I know I said this with the last characters, but with these characters, I think we've officially covered every obvious inclusion that there is, other than Adult Gohan and Gotenks. I think those are the only guaranteed characters that haven't been revealed yet.
Yeah.
Once those two get revealed, it's like open season.
Oh yeah.
Once those two get added to the roster, I don't think any other character that hasn't been added is guaranteed anymore. So I appreciate the fact that they got the obvious characters out of the way first. I mean, imagine if there was like 2 characters left to be revealed and Goku and Vegeta hadn't been revealed yet. It's like, gosh, I wonder who the last
I wonder.
characters.
Like it's, I have to give them credit. It's kind of funny how it's like it's the reverse. It's something. It's weird where we're complaining about the roster, for Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, right? About them picking way too obvious choices and not making an interesting roster. But for here, we're like, no. We want the obvious shit. We want the shit that we want. Like,
yeah, because this is the first one.
This is the first one, and it's hilarious how it's like, yeah, we're excited to see Yamcha. Well, I'm excited to see Yamcha. But,
I mean, like if Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was the first Marvel vs. Capcom game, right? We wouldn't be. I mean, okay, we'd still be mad because there are no X-Men. Like, fuck out of here.
Mhm.
Anyway, don't get me started. Anyway, moving on. You know when you realize that you're about to go on another tirade.
Yeah,
You're like,
it's kind of, yeah, and you're looking at like the clock, and you're like, we got like an hour for this, and we don't have 4 hours.
So anyway, moving on from, because this is the fighting game hour right now.
Right.
We got even more characters. So Injustice 2, we're like, okay, so we're not about to get left out of this party. We're gonna reveal a character too. Mm-hmm. So they didn't reveal Raiden because they revealed Raiden like 2 weeks ago, but they showed off gameplay, and it looks cool. He looks like Raiden. What was really cool, because I wasn't even gonna talk about this on the podcast, because I was like, honestly, I don't care. No offense to Injustice, I don't actually care. But what was really cool is that they added a premium skin for Raiden that transforms him into Black Lightning. Mm-hmm. So I was like, wow, that's, this is, I love the fact that they're using the premium skins to flesh out the roster and add those characters that, just, couldn't make the cut or, like, wouldn't have been good choices, like Jon Stewart. Yo, I love Jon Stewart, but having Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart in the game would have been redundant,
Yeah, exactly.
Having Power Girl and Supergirl in the game, redundant. So, so I'm glad that they, and then, if you remember with the original Injustice, I was mad when they added Scorpion, because I was like that there's so many DC characters that are getting shafted, and then you're choosing to add Scorpion, a character who has his own game. So I'm glad that they killed 2 birds with 1 stone here. They had their
they got their guest character, and they got to add a new character.
Yeah, exactly. Did Sub-Zero have a premium skin? I can't remember. Probably not.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because I would have remembered that.
Yeah, I know Captain Cold had the Mr. Freeze skin, so no. Sub-Zero didn't have a premium skin. I'm glad they did this with Raiden. So, yeah, hats off to them. And in terms of gameplay, yeah, he looks like Raiden. Nothing else to really say.
He's Raiden. All right, can we just go to the part that I've been waiting for all podcast?
Okay, sure. I was like, okay, does Thomas add anything? And Thomas like, nope.
Nope,
okay,
that's Raiden. He's a cool guy. Let's talk about Monster Hunter World. So Monster Hunter World got this really awesome trailer. Showed off. They're really pushing the story again, which I find fascinating.
I thought the word you're gonna use was troubling.
Okay, well, it's like I'm troubled by it, but at the same time, it's like they're showing things that I've always wanted to see. So it's kind of like, it's like I'm like but it's kind of like I don't know how to feel about it until I see it in action.
Which is a very good mindset to have. I wish more of us did that.
I guess that's true. Well, it's like, okay, here's the thing. So I'm like, okay, I've seen some of the clips where the voice acting is. Now, I already know the fact that one character, the girl who's kind of like the guild girl, essentially, is going to be with you throughout the game, and she's going to be giving you the quest, and she's going to be like, she's essentially going to be the one that's giving you all the information you need about the world and what to do. And the only thing that I know for a fact is that I was watching some of those tutorial videos, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm not going to have a problem with it, but I know Fawaz is going to have a problem with it, where Fawaz is going to get annoyed by her telling you, okay, this is how this works, right? This is how this works. And I understand the problem that they're facing, because this is the one Monster Hunter that a lot of people who have never played a single Monster Hunter are getting into.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So you want to make a good first impression.
Exactly. And the thing about Monster Hunter is that half the time they're like, we know you've played the other ones, so we're not going to explain shit. Because you already know how this shit works. So we don't need to tell you about dashing and stamina and making steaks. Because you've made steaks for 10 years. So it's kind of like, this is the one where they have to start fresh and explain everything. So it might be a little bit much. But getting back to what I did like, there are a couple things there. In the trailer, there's a shot where... Because in every Monster Hunter game, there's always these like big raid monsters. They're essentially these monsters that are so huge that they have their own special maps that you have to fight them on, right?
Okay.
And like there's a the first one with the
Chihuahua?
Sorry?
The Chihuahua?
The Chihuahua.
The monster in the trailer that looks like a Chihuahua.
That one. No. I'm talking about the big fucker. The one that's like, they're in the sea, and this thing just shoots out from the sea. And, yeah, the one that's like the size of a volcano. Like that's the one that gets their own map, right? And it's kind of like I was excited to see that there were shots of like more than just 4, right? Now I know for a fact that they're not actually going to do anything, but the fact that they're there makes a difference because I've always wanted to see like a cutscene in a Monster Hunter game that involved more than 4 people. You know? Because that actually makes sense in the grand scheme of things. It's which like when you're fighting a giant monster, I know it's ridiculous to think that 4 highly trained knights are going to be all that it takes to take this thing down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see that. They showed off a couple new monsters. There's one that kind of looks like a mix of a lizard and a leopard, which reminds me a lot of Nargacuga. That looked really cool. The Chihuahua one you're talking... Is that the one that looks like a giant puffball?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that looks like a giant puffball is weird, but I think it would be fun to fight. Like, it's one of those, like... It's, like, the thing about Monster Hunter, and this is something that I'm interested to hear your take on it, in which it's, from an outsider's perspective, you look at that and go, that's really weird. I thought this was about fighting dinosaurs and dragons, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about Monster Hunter is that they usually throw in a couple really weird ones. Like, there was a Monster Hunter in one of the games that was its whole mechanic had to deal with bubbles.
Bubbles.
Yeah, it was a monster that could create soap on its skin. And one of the things soap, right?
Sabulu?
Sorry,
that was in English, my bad.
No. Okay. But it's like the whole mechanic with that was that if you got hit by one of its bubbles, your gloves were so slippery you couldn't use items.
That might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, it's very dumb. It's very dumb. And there is ridiculous shit in the Monster Hunter series that I cannot wait for you to see firsthand. But honestly, like, this trailer was great. They showed off the big flagship monster. And more importantly, this is what I was getting to, they showed off the release date, which...
I was like, is he actually going to forget to mention?
No, I'm not going to forget about the release date. The release date is January 24th. Which is crazy to me, because I thought it was going to be like March or April, but no.
Yeah, same here. When they said early 2016, I thought it was going to be the quote-unquote early 2016, so like late May. Mm-hmm. And it's January 26th, Dan. Now, come on, get it right.
Okay, well, fuck me then. I'm not a true Monster Hunter fan. What do I know? But honestly, the trailer looked really, really great. The release date's great. Start out the year strong. Really, that's all I have to say. The game looks great. They announced a collector's edition, but apparently that's only Japan as of now.
Yeah,
which is annoying.
I'm sure we're gonna get one in North America. It's just they announced it at Tokyo Game Show, so
they just. I really hope they don't fucking Persona me again, because that was a huge bummer. I don't know if I actually talked about that, but it's like I bought the Persona 5 Collector's Edition, and it's a good edition, but it was not as good as the Japanese one. The Japanese one was so much better, and it sucks that that there's going to probably be a possibility that the American version is going to suck.
Damn.
But anyway.
I didn't thought about that.
Yeah, so and it sucks because it comes with a statue, and I actually want that because Monster Hunter statues are hard to find. But anyway, unless you have anything else to say, we can move on to the next one.
Move on to the next one, which is Okami, another PlayStation 2 classic that's getting released on the PS4. So you see, this right here is why Sony is like, yeah, we're not going to invest in backwards compatibility. Mm-hmm. Because why invest in backwards compatibility when you can just charge us twice, or in this case, 3 times for the same game. For the same game. But,
well, considering that the game didn't make any money when it started,
You know what? I'll give you that. Customer like that. God damn it, we're going to squeeze every last dollar out of this game if it's the last thing.
Because the game bombed hard in Japan when it launched.
Yeah.
Which sucks because it's such a good game.
It's a really good game. It's a really beautiful game, and it's coming to the PS4 and the Xbox One. One moment, I believe there was a release date, but I tried to prepare for everything. I did not prepare for this.
December 12th.
$20.
Yeah.
And the Japanese version will come on the 21st. So for once, we're getting a Japanese game before the Japanese.
Hey, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
So
It's
now
so
I'm
funny.
now
I
I'm
actually
looking at
forgot.
now. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I actually forgot that this was a PS2 game.
Yep.
I was like, oh yeah, I missed this on the PS2. This is my. And I was like, wait a second, the PS3 version was an HD re-release.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it looks that good. Like,
Yeah.
I was also gonna say, because we were talking about this before we started the podcast. There's a certain console that I feel that this game should be getting a port. You know, a very obvious one. A very, very obvious one that I am absolutely baffled that they have not done it yet.
So what you're saying is that they should switch the console that they're porting this game to.
Yes, I'm saying that we need a Switch version. Because not only would this not be difficult to port to the Switch, because it's very doable, because it's not, because like like a Switch is more powerful than a PS3. Like it would be doable, and not only that, the Switch has a touch screen, so the whole drawing mechanic would be perfect for that console.
This is true.
So it's like it's the most obvious port I have ever seen, and the fact that it's not out yet is ridiculous. It's ridiculous, I say.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably gonna come eventually.
I know it's gonna come eventually, but I found it funny when I saw this. I was like, oh, and for the Switch too, right? Nope. Just for the PS4 and the Xbox One. I'm like, alright. But honestly, I'm glad that this is getting to more people, because this game is really good, and I'm glad it's getting re-released. And I mean, like, I know it's funny how it's like, yeah, keep re-releasing it, keep making that money, because Capcom's not, needs some good press.
Capcom needs some good press. So
re-release
yeah.
Okami. That's the break glass of Cap.
Yeah.
Just re-release Okami. We'll make some money that way.
It's good press, right? It's good press, but yeah, two games that are actually coming to the Switch, which was quite a surprise, are Wolfenstein 2 and Doom. Yeah, that was a big surprise for me. At Nintendo's Direct, they announced that Wolfenstein and Doom are getting ported to the Switch. Wolfenstein 2. This is, I don't want to say this is huge, because we need to see how much of a downgrade it's going to be. If it's like, Overwatch PC versus Overwatch console, then that'll be fine. But if it's a situation like Call of Duty PS Xbox versus Call of Duty Wii, then yeah, don't waste our time. This is just a farce. But if it does end up being just a slight downgrade, then this is a big deal, I think. Because one of the things I was always ranting about when the Wii got announced was, porting third-party games, and the fact that, like, if you bought a Wii, you had to buy a Switch, you had to buy another console to compensate for the fact that you wouldn't be getting, like, tons of third-party games. If a game as graphics-heavy as Doom and Wolfenstein 2 can get ported to the Switch with only slight downgrades, then that might open the floodgates and really show other developers that, you guys are losing out on a big market here, not putting in the effort to just port games over to the Switch. And so this was pretty big news when I saw it. But I'm interested to hear what you think.
I think this is really cool. Like, honestly, like I have some insider info about these ports, and people are asking, are these ports going to be any good? And from what I could tell, a lot of the people who have gotten like early access to these ports are saying that they're actually surprisingly well done. Like, it seems like they've taken a lot of time to what's the word, optimize the Switch's capabilities to make these games run smoothly, and that we'll get to see when we actually get our hands on it, because Doom is, especially Doom 2016, because I actually got to finally play it. I went to my friend's place relatively a couple weeks ago, who lives in Niagara, and he had the game, so I actually got to play for the first time, and that's it's a very beautiful game. It's very beautiful in the sense that it's very hardcore and hellish, and it's like super intense.
The sound design in that game is insane.
Oh, it's great. But it's one of those things where it's like, that's a great game, pick up and play, because the levels they're short, So that's a great, like, I've got a 30-minute, bus ride. I'm just gonna play a level in Doom, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like that makes sense. And if it runs smoothly enough, then that's fantastic. And that was always my dream from the beginning. Is that I talked about why I was always excited for the Switch was because back in the day, that's what I thought the PSP was going to be.
Yes.
Like, I thought the PSP was going to be, oh man, PS3 games on the go? That's awesome. That's the future. And that was not what the PSP was or became. So,
Back when we were still naive.
we're still naive. So, like, I'm very excited for these ports. I want them to come out and do well. Skyrim will be the first test. I think when people get their hands on Skyrim, which I think also got a release date, I think it's this holiday season.
Yes.
Yeah, Skyrim is getting released for the Switch. I think when people get their hands on that and they see, okay, does this game run relatively smoothly, then people are going to be happy. Because then it's just portable Skyrim.
Yeah.
And Skyrim is also a good game that you can just sort of pick up and play and just fuck around with. So I'm also glad that they're picking good titles, right? These are good titles to port, if you know what I mean. They make sense for the console in question, I guess, is what I mean by that.
Yeah. No. Actually, I like the fact that they're picking these games because these games are so unlike the games that are that are on the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you've got like Super Mario and Rabbids, and you've got Splatoon, and then you've got Doom, where you're literally fighting in hell.
If you want to talk about some dark shit, the fact that LA Noire is getting a port to the Switch is fascinating to me because I watched some clips from that game that were talking about the story, and there is some dark shit in that game.
Yeah, man, aren't you playing like a private investigator?
Yeah. Like one of the first cases has a quite the kick to the balls, I guess is one way to describe it. It's like holy shit. So it's that I'm glad that we're getting the third party support, which is I know that was your biggest fear, right? Is that
Yes.
it wouldn't get the third party support and that we would be stuck with relatively good quality Nintendo games, but that would be it. Which is what the Wii U became. The only thing that kept me from just putting my Wii U away forever was because I knew that eventually there would be a relatively good Nintendo game coming out and I could dust it off and play it then. But with the Switch, now it's like, oh man, I'm excited for, Doom's coming out. Hell, like I was thinking about getting Wolfenstein 2, right? The new one. What is it called? Liberty something. Shit, I forget what the you know how it's it was Wolfenstein The New Order and then it's the Wolfenstein 2 something.
Yeah, I'm the wrong person to ask.
Yeah. Anyway, I might end up getting it for the Switch if it's not that bad of a downgrade because I would rather have that game as a portable game. And I don't know. Very excited. I think overall what they showed with the Direct I thought was really 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 good, really exciting. I still can't stand that they're showing off 3DS games. Although I will say that I'm glad that they segmented it so it wasn't a mix. Like they said, okay, the 3DS games, we're going to just get them out of the way first during the Direct. So you have about 15 minutes of 3DS games, and now we're going to focus on the Switch. So
yeah.
I'm glad that they did that because there was a couple where they spliced in 3DS and Switch games like back and forth, and it's frustrating because there was a couple titles where I was like, oh man, that looks like a great game for the Switch, and then it's like for 3DS, and I'm like, anyway.
But yeah, I can't think of a good segue into our question of the day. So I'm just going to, brute force.
Brute force it.
So
yeah. So what is our question of the day, Fawaz?
Our question of the day comes from the wonderful J Streets.
Shout out to J Streets.
And it goes, for those that don't know, what is a meta, how does it develop, and how does it change? Okay, so the meta of any game is the character or the characters that the game revolves around. So at the highest level, these are the characters. These are the characters you'll be seeing the most of. So Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Doom was the meta. Doom, Virgil. I don't know if you really use meta in the context of fighting games, but I don't think we do actually. But it all blurs together. But in the context of a game like Overwatch, the meta when the game launched was Reinhardt's. No, it was Double Winston actually. Shout out to Zero Throw Limits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thank God that's gone. It was Double Winston. Then when one hero limit was implemented, it became Reinhardt Zarya. Then Zarya got nerfed. Then D.Va got buffed, and then it became Reinhardt Zarya D.Va. Then Ana got introduced. It became Reinhardt Zarya D.Va Roadhog Ana Lucio. And yeah, the meta is pretty much just the heroes that best use the tools in the game. They're just the best, not necessarily the best heroes. Because a hero can be good, but not meta, right? So, for example, a couple patches ago, no one played Zenyatta. It wasn't because he was bad. It was just because Ana was better. And on top of that, because everybody was playing tanks, and Ana heals tanks better than Zen does. So that was it. Ana was meta, and Zen wasn't. Then Ana got nerfed. Winston got buffed. Winston becomes meta, and then Zenyatta synergizes with Winston better than Ana. So Zen becomes meta, and Ana falls out of the meta. Pharah used to be meta. When Pharah was meta, so was Mercy. Pharah didn't get nerfed. Zenyatta got buffed. McCree got buffed. So that effectively took Pharah out of the game. Pharah left. So did Mercy. So the meta, it's weird. So yeah, the meta are the core heroes that the game revolves around. Like I said, when the game launched, the meta revolved around Reinhardt. When Ana got added, after Zen got buffed, the meta revolved around Zenyatta.
I would say that one way of describing the meta is it's the heroes or characters that are the most competitively viable at the moment. The ones for team-based, if we're using team-based games as an example, it's the ones that currently with the stats of each characters and how well they combo with each other, it's the characters that the combos are the most effective. At least I think is one way to describe it.
Yeah, so when the game launched, it was we were in the resurrect meta. You would team fights would be revolve around who could force out res first. You force out who could force out res first or kill Mercy first. Then Mercy got nerfed and Zen got buffed, and then the meta revolved around 50% Discord. People literally stopped playing Winston because Winston melted so fast. Roadhog and Winston disappeared because they just melted so fast in a world where there was a 50% Discord org. Then Discord got nerfed, Ana got introduced, and then the meta revolved around tanks. So you just played heroes that would feed Ana her ultimate because she could build her ultimate in like microseconds.
Yeah.
Then Ana gets nerfed, and now the meta, has gone back to revolving around Zen. Well, it doesn't really revolve around Zen now. It's more around Winston. The meta revolves around Winston now. So yeah, the meta, it's pretty much it's usually like one or two heroes, and then people pick the heroes that complement those two heroes very well. If Reinhardt came back, Zarya would come right back with him. Ana would come right back with him. McCree would come right back with him. But then, because it's Winston right now, Genji, Tracer, Zenyatta, and D.Va, well, let's not talk about D.Va right now. All follow suit. So, there's, and this is in the context of Overwatch. There's heroes that complement other heroes better than others, and then when that hero becomes meta, quote unquote, it's when the hero becomes really powerful, either based on getting buffed or based on a natural counter getting nerfed. So Pharah fell out of the meta because McCree got buffed. They didn't touch Pharah, but she went from a 40% pick rate to 0.8% because you just couldn't pick Pharah.
You couldn't pick Pharah because McCree was too strong, and McCree's and McCree could just snipe you out of the sky. Whereas, like, Pharah, because Pharah didn't change and McCree just got stronger, Pharah just became not as viable.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the core of a lot of how, because I'm looking at the question. It's like, we explain like what a meta is, and how does it develop, and then like how does it change. Well, the biggest thing of how the meta changes is usually when a existing character or hero or weapon or whatever gets either a stat increase or a stat decrease, whether it be a nerf or a buff. Or it's when a character or weapon or new item gets added to the game. And that usually is what shakes up the current meta, because that new thing gets thrown into the calculation of what is currently the best combo. So when McCree got buffed, that changed the combo, and that's what McCree got put into it, and Pharah got pulled out.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes a meta can change without the developer doing anything. It happens very rarely. I literally can't think of any example off the top of my head. It happens rarely, but it's usually for games that have been out for a very long time. Because once you've released a game for a while, like in 3 years, I don't imagine they're going to be patching this game as frequently as they patch it right now. So in 3 years, whatever the meta starts to develop more organically. So for example, the game launches and the meta, in 3 years the meta is Winston and D.Va, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody just decides to experiment with Roadhog and Mei, 2 characters that no one ever plays. Let's just say hypothetically speaking, and then they're like, wait a minute, Roadhog and Mei do really well against Winston and D.Va. So then people start playing Roadhog and Mei to counter all the people playing Winston and D.Va.
Yeah.
And the Winston and D.Va people start switching to Reinhardt and Zarya to counter the Roadhog Mei. But then the Roadhog Mei is like, okay, this isn't an ideal world, right? But then, this is when you have a game with proper balance, then the meta can evolve organically. Mm-hmm. But most games aren't properly balanced. It's just the unfortunate, just the unfortunate situation that we live in.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's very difficult to balance games nowadays. Like, there's always going to be
It's always been difficult to balance games. We didn't have the internet before to tell us what was broken as quickly.
Yeah.
That was really the difference. Now you buy a fighting game. If there's there's already an Infinite in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Ghost Rider has an Infinite. There's a YouTube video on it. You can probably find a YouTube tutorial very soon, and everybody's gonna be doing the Infinite if they feel like, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas 20 years ago, either your friend told you about the Infinite, or you figured it out yourself. Rarely. Mm-hmm. Or you just didn't know about the Infinite. So yeah, but no, it is tough to balance games, especially a game like Overwatch, right? Because it's so many moving pieces, and you make one small change. You make one small change. Like, for example, you put Zenyatta's Discord back at 50%, and all of a sudden, Winston and D.Va become unplayable. Straight up. Like, Winston and D.Va, ironically enough, the 2 characters that synergize so well with Zenyatta become completely unplayable if he goes back to 50% Discord. That's one change. One change takes 2 tanks out of the game and brings 2 of them right back. And then with those 2 tanks, like I said, McCree comes back. It's crazy. Tracer becomes I want to say unplayable. That's a bit excessive. But you get my point. Pharah becomes unplayable with a 50% Discord orb. So and that's one change, one ability. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like it's a very difficult game to balance, which is the reason why I'm very excited and terrified of these changes, because like we've been playing with a powerful defense matrix for so long that I think some of us don't remember what it felt like to not have defense matrix. Also, keep in mind, when D.Va's defense matrix was shit back in the day, 76 didn't do as much damage as he does right now. Mm-hmm. But Free had less fall off than he does right now. So some people might be in for an unpleasant surprise. People, because I'm among people who have been celebrating the fact that this defense matrix is getting nerfed. I might be among those people that are like, yeah, maybe this defense matrix was blocking the floodgates from a lot worse things, right?
Yeah, like it's one of those. That's always an interesting thing when you say but that's always the fun of balancing. Is that you're like, yeah, this needs to change. Just change this. This changes, and then you go, oh wait, this was stopping this from happening. Ah, fuck. But you sometimes you can never foresee that. Like you can't.
It's very difficult to foresee that.
Yeah, and all this is really complicated, and this is why this question's fascinating to me, because it's like, yeah, this is what a meta is. This is how it develops, and this is how it changes. And personally, this is why I kind of don't really keep up to date with current metas for the most part. I try and go, okay, what are the big changes, and I see how that affects how I play the game. Because it's so complicated.
It's pretty complicated.
It's freaking complicated, and it's like when I just want to play Mercy, I don't want to be like, oh, I want to play Mercy. Wait, let me go to the meta forums, and I gotta go look up it, like what the.
I mean, you know, I mean, like I know the meta, you know, like the back of my.
Oh
head.
yeah, and this is a perfect example. You know the meta way better than I do. Like just flat out, I'm gonna say that.
The meta, ever. I picked Zarya when the game came out because I was like, I like the way she plays. It just so happens that she was completely overpowered when the game launched. Even after she got nerfed, she's not in the meta right now. In the competitive meta, nobody plays Zarya anymore. They play on like King's Row first points, and that's about it. You know, D.Va and Winston are just better. I don't give a damn. I still play Zarya. You know,
yeah.
Because here's the thing: if I was playing at the highest level, then I would take the meta into consideration, right? But the level that I play at the level that we play at, especially on console, that's another thing to keep in mind, right?
We play on consoles.
Don't matter. You know, Widowmaker was overpowered when the game launched. It didn't matter to us. We played on console. Most Widowmakers might as well have been blind on console. You know, you know, the McCree changed. The McCree fall-off changed. It didn't matter on console because most McCrees might as well have been blind on console. You know? So like you know the meta, but then you also need to add some common sense to figure out how this applies to you. For example, this Resurrect change is going to affect us on consoles, you know? The D.Va change 100% is going to affect us on console, right? So that's one thing that you keep in mind. But yeah, you know, it's give and take. You know, it's not what's that word I'm looking for? It's not gospel. That's the word. Yeah, it's not gospel. Like you don't have to follow it. For God's sake, we're talking about consoles here. People play like Junkrat, which went back when he was terrible on console. You know, I mean now
people still play Junkrat.
I mean, he's really strong now. But like,
oh yeah, no, he's a lot stronger than he used to be. But yeah, no, like I actually played a lot of Junkrat back in the day, mostly because I had fun playing him. I knew that he was not a good hero. I could say that for free. But I had fun playing him because I did like his playstyle. So I guess the best thing we can say about it is like, you know, like you don't, the meta isn't gospel. You don't necessarily have to follow it. But maybe like you should be somewhat aware of it. But it's funny because I know that like my knowledge of the meta is not that accurate for the most part.
I mean, like I said, you don't have to. One of the best players in my city. I mean, I'm talking Guilty Gear now. He doesn't like follow all this like in-depth info type stuff. You don't have to, but you know it doesn't hurt to know. At the same time, it doesn't hurt to know. But yeah, really good question, Jason, as always.
As always, and if you've got a question for us, don't forget to leave it in the comment section, and we'll make sure to answer it in the next podcast. And as always, this is your host, Win Liberty, and
Yusuf.
we'll see you guys next time. Take care.